Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side, every day you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 33 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis, and while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you, 844-236-6010. If you have a health challenge you or a loved one is dealing with, if you want help with the longevity products or to get on a good nutritional supplement program for anti-aging or general health or skin health, or if you just have a comment or success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. Longevity products can be purchased by calling 866-735-2470. They make great Christmas gifts. Getting a little late here. Got about a week and a half or so, or actually, oh my goodness, got about a week to Christmas. But anyway, you can get longevity products any time of year. Great birthday presents. They're especially good for folks in nursing homes. And the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is really nothing short of life-changing to somebody who's been subsisting on nursing home food, or fast food, or processed food, which is most of us. The vast majority of us are not on a nutritional supplement program. And one of the great gifts of the human body is the more deficient you are in nutrition, the faster your body turns it around. And that accounts for the really incredible results people get when they start on Beyond Tangy Tangerine, particularly if they are ill or frail or in a nursing home or just the average American. 866-735-2470 if you want to purchase longevity products, including the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, or head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And also think about signing up to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $30 fee. You can be in business for yourself. Call 866-735-2470 for more info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Everything your skin needs and nothing it doesn't. Truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right, got lines open. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're talking about the skin. We've been talking about eczema, an inflammatory issue. I got a text from a nurse yesterday, of all people, and she wanted to know, actually it was a friend of a nurse, and she wanted to know what she could tell her friend about eczema. The nurse wanted something called Pittsburgh Paste. Pittsburgh Paste is a compounded topical that people use in Pittsburgh, actually. It was first compounded by Pittsburgh pharmacists, I think one of the hospitals down there. And it's called Pittsburgh Paste, and most folks don't know about it unless they're compounding pharmacists like myself. It's just pretty much just popular in Pittsburgh. And what it is, it's a kind of a drug called Questran, or also the chemical name is cholestyramine. Questran was the way we lowered cholesterol before statin drugs. Before statin drugs came around, in the late 80s. It was when statins were first out. It was just when I first graduated pharmacy school, statin drugs came out. Before then, if you wanted to lower your cholesterol, you would use these things called resins, which would stick to the cholesterol. Well, the classic one was called Questran or cholestyramine, and this resin that sticks to the cholesterol cholesterol also has an anti-inflammatory effect. It sticks to bacteria. It sticks to inflammatory factors, and it protects also. And so they started adding this stuff into creams and gels in Pittsburgh, anyway, and topical pastes, I guess, for diaper rash and for eczema, apparently. And she wanted to use this Questran. She wanted to know about Pittsburgh paste, and I told her what it was. And I was like, why the heck don't you just take care of the kid's immune system? This is a nurse, an inflammatory, a medical professional should definitely understand how the inflammatory system works. Why would you treat an inflammatory issue without taking care of the inflammation, without dealing with the cause of the inflammation? Well, of course, we know the answer. That's just the way the medical model is. That's the way the medical model addresses these things. I'm not blaming anybody. It just seems crazy to me that we don't address the problem when we have an inflammatory issue. If you have an inflammatory issue of any kind, it's a generic issue. It's not a skin problem. You can have the same thing in the liver. You can have the same thing in the pancreas. You can have the same thing anywhere. Inflammation is inflammation is inflammation. It shows up as eczema. It shows up as fatty liver disease. This is why you'll hear people talking about inflammation. This is why you hear people in the medical world talking about inflammation, but they don't really tell you about it. It doesn't really make sense, because when we think of inflammation, we think of like a broken arm or a sprained ankle. So when we hear about inflammation in the body, it just doesn't kind of compute. But basically what you're talking about is a microscopic version of a sprained ankle. The purpling and the swelling and the redness and the pain, the protection, the loss of movement or loss of function, all of that happens at the microscopic level. All the hallmark signs of inflammation that we know of as macro or big inflammation happen at the small scale. And what happens at the level of cells don't grow right. It's as simple as that. When it happens at the level of the cells don't do their business. That's all you got to know. When inflammation occurs at the level of the cell isn't doing its business. Now, you can stop the inflammation from happening, but you still got the problem. This is why anti-inflammatories just don't make good scientific sense or good health sense. You can stop the inflammatory response, but that's protection. So you stop the protection, but you still have the attack. So yeah, you may need an anti-inflammatory in the short run. I have no, Pollyanna when I'm not Pollyannish when it comes to drugs. I understand there's times you need certain things, but to be on a drug that works by its anti-inflammatory effects, to be on an anti-inflammatory type drug for a long period of time without addressing the problem is crazy to me. By the way, inflammation turns on something called autophagy. I did a moment of truth today on autophagy. We talked about this before, autophagy. Autophagy is the body's self-cleaning mechanism. The body's like a self-cleaning oven. It cleans itself. It autophages. Auto means automatic, on its own, and then phagy means eating. Autophagy means self-eating, self-digesting. There's an autophagic response that cleans out cancer. There's an autophagic response that cleans out damaged tissue. There's an autophagic response that's triggered by inflammation, and if you suppress inflammation, you don't get the autophagy. You just get the destroyed cells. You suppress the normal autophagic response. Inflammation is actually a good thing in the sense that it turns on all of the repair mechanisms. That's why we exercise. Exercise, by the way, is a great way to stimulate autophagy. Mild stresses, not traumatic stresses, but mild stresses, low level, a certain amount of stress, turns on the autophagic response. It's the way the body works. The body is designed to clean itself out. And the ways it cleans itself out is with mild stresses. Calorie restriction is a great way. And I did a moment of truth on autophagy today, so you might want to check out our Facebook page, The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben. And as far as the skin, no surprise. As far as the skin, the autophagic response is really important. And again, no surprise, many of our health strategies, many of the ways we take care of the skin, turn off the autophagic self-cleaning response, especially in the world of medicine. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. Got lines open for you. And hang tight if you're on hold. We'll get you in our next segment. We are on the air Monday through Friday on the bright side, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. We also have longevity products and news stories and blog posts and videos, and my moments of truth anyway at criticalhealthnews.com. But all the sites have good health information, as well as the longevity products if you want to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team, or if you'd like to purchase longevity products, you can do it right off the websites brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And you can purchase Truth products at truthtreatments.com. We've got holiday specials as well as new products at truthtreatments.com. Everything your skin needs and nothing it doesn't. All products formulated originally in my compounding pharmacy, where I had to heal the skin, and turns out, no surprise, healing is beauty. When we want beautiful skin, we really want healthy skin. Everything's about the health of the body. We're trying to show people how healthy we are through our skin. And that's why, to me, skincare should be healthcare. Unfortunately, we didn't know this when skincare was being developed. Skincare products we use today were the modern version of skincare products. The skincare industry was really developed, or really got going, in the late 1900s as women's income, as income in general started to increase, and factories, as part of the Industrial Revolution, and there were all these factories and factory space and all this capacity that had to be filled. And so advertising and marketing and skincare, which is really, skincare is the perfect product for the Industrial Revolution and the age of marketing, because it really doesn't do anything, and people feel like they absolutely have to have it, and they're constantly, because they're not satisfied, they're constantly switching brands, and it lends itself perfectly to our marketing society, which started as as a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution, and we're still doing it that way. But we know so much more about the body. We know so much more about the skin. We know so much more about cells. Cells were just cell theory. The idea that the body was made up of cells started right around the same time, around 1870, 1860. That's when we start to understand the nature of cells. I mean, they knew they were there, but they really understood their nature as fundamental to the body. And skincare didn't really take that into account, and it still doesn't. Healthcare in general doesn't take the cell into account. It's all about the cell in all the organs, and includes the skin. If you have a disease, you got a cell disease. If you have a skin disease, you got a skin cell disease. So why in God's name would we be putting cytotoxic ingredients on our skin? That is, ingredients that kill cells or that are toxic to cells, and we do. Oh, but they're just small amounts, Ben. Oh, but it's just 0.01%. Oh, it's just 0.1%. I don't care. What's the point of it? What's the point of putting things that are going to kill a cell on the cell? Sunscreens kill cells, by the way. Preservatives kill cells, by the way. Trans fats don't do cells any good if they don't kill them. Wax, oil, preservatives, fragrances, water, glycerin, propylene glycol, silicone, xanthan gum. What's the point? Okay, you need a little xanthan gum to make the thing spread, I understand. But when 90% of your product is water and filler, what's the point of that? And then a certain percentage of that is killing cells. What's the point of that? You ever wonder why in Hawaii they don't allow or they're in the next couple years anyway, they're not going to allow sunscreens? You probably heard that. You ever wonder why that is? It's because the chemicals in the sunscreens kill the animals in the water, specifically the coral. But if it's killing coral, it's going to kill all animals. Why? Because it's killing cells. Corals are made up of cells. Coral is a mound of stuff that is actually made up of thousands of tiny little critters, thousands of tiny little animals, and the sunscreens kill those animals because those animals are cells. The autophagy response is designed to weed out bad cells in the body and bad cells in the skin. bad cells in the skin, the autophagic response on bad cells in the skin is triggered. It's supposed to be triggered by cellular breakdown. IV, ultraviolet radiation from the sun damages cells, but autophagy takes care of that. But if you use a sunscreen, that's not going to happen. The autophagic response takes care of cancer inside the body too. Autophagy takes care of all broken down and diseased cells. And the autophagic response is triggered by breakdown and disease. The autophagic response is triggered by stress. And by controlling or taking control of the stress response, we can actually turn on autophagy. The ketogenic diet is a wonderful pro-autophagic diet. Calorie restriction, way autophagic. The sun is autophagic. If you can figure out how to leverage autophagy, which we just, by the way, started to understand in the last 20, 30 years, you're going to stay younger longer. Many of the things we do for comfort turn off autophagy. Sugar, for example, or excess calories, which we'll say, excess calories turn off autophagy. Reduced calories turn it on. This is one of the ways the stress response is a good thing for us. In the future, you're going to be hearing about something called mTOR. mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin, mTOR. It turns out that turning on mTOR, turns on all the things we love about life. It's one of the the mTOR response is one of the main mechanisms that the body uses to grow, to become anabolic. And anything you do to turn on the mTOR response is going to anti-age you. It's going to make you grow. As we get older, no surprise, the mTOR response gets dampened down. Guess what turns down the mTOR response? Insulin, sugar, calories. Guess what turns on the mTOR response? The ketogenic diet, calorie restriction. All the things we talk about. We now understand, by the way, all the things we talk about in this program as lifestyle modifications have hardcore biochemistry. Well, we knew it had biochemistry, but we actually know what that biochemistry is. Things like the mTOR response and autophagy, all things that we just discovered in the last 10 or 20 years. But you don't need to know all that stuff. What you need to know is a little stress is important for the body, and the most important stresses for the body are going to be the stress of exercise, the stress of calorie restriction, and the stress of mental health challenges, doing things, challenging your mind. Those are the three main stresses that will keep you younger. Keep your calories down, work out, and put a little stress on your brain. Put a little stress on your mind. Those are the three main things, three main elements to longevity, and they're all stressful on the body. And they're all things we don't tend to do. We won't do unless we're not going to exercise unless we're somehow convinced to do it. For most of us, anyway, we're not going to calorie restrict unless we're convinced to do it. For most of us, anyway, we're not going to study a new language or learn a musical instrument or challenge our mind with a new philosophy or a new idea unless we're somehow induced to do it. For most of us. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. On the bright side with lines open, 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. If you have questions about skin health or ingredients or formulations or something you heard about or read about, or you just have a success story or comment, 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls here in just a moment, so hang on. And if you want to purchase longevity products, call 866-735-2470 or go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And to purchase Truth Skin Health products, go to truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Well, no surprise again in the news. You're going to be hearing about this for a while. Ultra-processed foods now linked to risk of type 2 diabetes. Well, you don't have to be a frickin' genius to see a connection there. This is from JAMA. This was published just today. JAMA Internal Medicine. Study involved 104,000 participants in what's called the web-based NutraNet Santé study in France. The majority of these participants are women. Mean baseline age of 42, and it turns out that rates of type 2 diabetes among the highest ultra-processed food consumer was 50% or so, actually about 40% higher than for the lowest of ultra-processed food consumers. Well, gee whiz. You think there's a connection between ultra-processed foods and problems with your health? Quote, to our knowledge, although ultra-processed food consumption was previously found to be associated with increased risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, mortality, depressive symptoms, and metabolic disorders, no study had ever evaluated their association with type 2 diabetes. It's all the same thing. You don't need to know the specific way the body's going to be destroyed by ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are not processed foods. They're ultra-processed foods. That means they have 1,000 working parts in them. No, okay, so they have like probably 50 to 100 working parts in them. And each one of those working parts can have other working parts. Do you know a natural flavor on an ingredient deck, which is just one of maybe 100 different ingredients in a bar or a boxed food of some kind, 50 to 100 ingredients? That ingredient itself can have another dozen or so or more ingredients within it. We got ingredients on top of ingredients on top of ingredients. Ingredients within ingredients within ingredients. That's an ultra-processed food. Ingredients within ingredients within ingredients. Now, when we talk about calorie restriction, I'm talking about calorie restriction in general. But if you're going to restrict calories, if you don't want to restrict a lot of calories, you just want to restrict some calories, restrict your ultra-processed food calories. If it has a label on it, you want to be very careful. These days, even meat has labels on it, or ingredient decks will say on it. You go to the deli section and get your boar's head roast beef, but boar's head is supposed to be some deluxe delicatessen, fancy schmancy roast beef. You'll see ingredients on it. Ingredients on your meat. So you got to be really, really careful, not just for diabetes, but especially for weight gain and for cancer. But diabetes, all health challenges, this is the first generation. We're going to start to see something really dramatic here. The eggs a human being is born from come from, check this out, the eggs a human being is derived from. When your mother and your father's sperm meet the egg and you're conceived, that egg was nurtured in your grandmother. So in other words, the eggs a mother has came from her mother. So we don't see health destroyed for 3 generations. And we're going to start to see this now. Probably this is the first generation. We're going to see this because the grandmothers of the parents, it's even probably the baby boomers is where it started, because processed foods didn't really begin until the 1920s. When we started to really deconstruct foods and reconstruct them. We started to take food components out and put them together in weird kinds of ways and weird kinds of combinations. It really got going in the late 19th century. But for the most part, it's the people who were born in 1960 who came from grandmothers who were eating 1920s food where the problem really began. But now it's getting going in earnest. There were 1 in 100 diabetics at the turn of the 20th century. And when I was in pharmacy school in the 80s, it was 1 out of 50. Or 1 out of 50 people were diabetics. Now it's like 1 out of 10, 1 out of 8 are diabetics. And it's going to be 1 out of 2 here pretty soon. Right now, 1 out of 2 people get cancer. I mean, the things that are happening in terms of our health, we are starting to see this, reap the seeds that were sown, reap the harvest of the seeds that were sown in the 1920s. We're really seeing that now. And it's only going to get worse. Alzheimer's disease is a classic case of this. Your epigenetics are determined largely, or in large part, we'll say, by what happened at birth, or your genetics, or even in the womb. Between the womb and early at birth, a lot of our genetic destiny, for most part, it can be changed, by the way, through changing your lifestyle, but for the most part, we're on this road, this trajectory that began at birth for the most of us, and we're now starting to see this with life expectancy starting to drop. Over the last couple of years, life expectancy has started to drop. It's a really serious problem. Aside from just the health misery and the shortened life expectancy, the cost of it is in the trillions. The trillions of dollars. Right now, healthcare, which is mostly chronic, maintenance of chronic healthcare, something like $2 trillion. Hundreds of trillions of dollars are expected to be spent on dealing with just Alzheimer's disease in the next 30 years. All right. There's lots we could do. That's the bad news. The good news is there's lots we can do, and we can do it right away. Laying off the ultra-processed foods is one of the key things that you can do. Laying off laying off calories in general, but especially laying off the ultra-processed foods, the foods that have labels with long ingredient decks on them. All right, 844-236-6010. Let's talk to my good friend, the very savvy and wise Quantum Jeff. What's up, Quantum Jeff? Thank you for calling. Happy holidays.
Hey, Ben, how's it going?
It's going great. Good to talk to you. And thank you for your wonderful posts on our website, The Bright Side, with pharmacists, the Facebook site, I should say, Facebook page, The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben. Thank you for that.
I appreciate you letting me post my videos. You know, I live my life down the rabbit hole and making my way through Quantum University for that ever so doctorate degree. You know, 99% of the time I can figure things out, but I have a possible client with Lyme disease, which started in 2006, but she's only 39. It started in March when she had a shoulder surgery, and they gave her cortisone, and it really started from there. You know, this poor lady back in July, August.
Go ahead. I want to hear it. Go ahead.
This poor lady went to this clinic for Lyme disease in Florida back in July for 3 months. It was $5,000 a week they went into debt spending $60,000 at this clinic, and she is no better.
We're going to talk about Lyme disease, and we're going to talk about your patient, and I'm going to ask you your take on that. We're going to take a break, unfortunately, but I want you to stick around, because Lyme disease, I don't talk about this that much, but it's I find it a very interesting subject, and I'd love to hear your take on the quantum nature of it, because you're Quantum Jeff, and there's always a quantum nature, and we have control over that quantum. That's what's cool to me about quantum, the quantum field, Quantum Jeff, is that at that level, there's a lot we can do. We have a lot of control at the quantum level, because the quantum is very responsive to things like consciousness and energy and thoughts.
It's everything. It's everything.
Hang tight, Quantum Jeff.
Sure, you got it.
All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. We're back on The Bright Side. Pharmacist Ben here, 844-236-6010 is our number. We've got Quantum Jeff on the line. Quantum Jeff, Lyme disease.
Yes.
So I want to hear, before I tell you my little spiel, I want to hear, what do you think the quantum nature or the quantum perspective on Lyme disease would be?
Well, you know, as always, we try to work all the systems. But being a bacteria, I mean, building the microbiome is everything. But, you know, she's been on rounds of antibiotics. It's not working. And the problem is she's losing a ton of weight, and the legs and arms are numb and painful all the time.
All right. Well, let's hang on. Couple things. First of all, if I was going to do the quantum perspective, I would be working with my thoughts and intentions. That would be my take on the quantum perspective. But let's continue on about Lyme disease, because I find this subject very fascinating. If somebody's not recovering from Lyme disease, the problem is not the Lyme disease; it's somebody is not recovering. You follow me?
Yep.
The problem is that it's chronic. It shouldn't be chronic. The body should be able to handle it. If it's chronic, that means that the immune system is not doing its business. That's how you want to look at chronic Lyme disease. Chronic Lyme disease is nothing more than a chronic stressor on the body that needs to be addressed by strengthening the body. And there's lots of ways to do that. What I would ask you, Quantum Jeff, is,
yes, sir.
Is this the first person you've ever seen with chronic Lyme disease? Probably not. You've probably seen other people, right? Okay. So let's say, when you see somebody with chronic Lyme disease, are they exercising, supplementing, eating right, practicing their spiritual, mental, and emotional strategies, have a wonderful life, doing strategies or doing techniques to build their immune system? Are they doing all those things?
Well, she said she has.
No, listen. Are they doing all those things? Come on, Jeff. Are they not eating the crappy? Of course not. What I'm saying is that if you are in a condition where your immune system is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, you move to your locus of control. Are you with me? The idea that Lyme disease is attacking you is abdicating control. It's giving up to the Lyme disease, the spirochete, which, by the way, it's never ever been proven that this little thing is causing all of these symptoms. Okay? In fact, acute infections are one thing when you get bit by a tick, but chronic infections of Lyme disease are still very controversial. I don't want to wade into that controversy because I have my own opinions on it, but I don't want to. That's not the point. The point is you work with your locus of control. And your locus of control is the supplements you take, the foods you eat, the exercise you do, the thoughts you think. All of those things are in your control. As far as foods, as far as dietary strategies go, you got to do everything that's things that build your immune system and avoid things that suppress your immune system. Sugar suppresses your immune system. Calories suppress your immune system. I've been talking about autophagy now for a day, or today and yesterday a little bit. We talked about autophagy. Autophagy should take care of this. Autophagy should be able to address this. The immune system should be able to address this, but sugar destroys the immune system and slows down autophagy, as do calories. So making sure you're not eating processed foods and high-carb foods and not too many calories, etc. Ketogenic diet can be helpful. That's step number one. That's always step number one. No, I say it all the time. Told me she had arthritis, I'd say the same thing. So, and by the way, arthritis is part of Lyme disease. Lyme disease is like a catch-all phrase for all the ways we fall apart. So calorie restriction and avoiding the crappy foods and working on the gut, like staying away from problem foods. Staying away from things that suppress digestive health. The immune system is in the digestive. 80% of it's in the digestive system, right? So staying away from problem foods.
That is true. Doing
a food diary. You know what I'm saying? Has she done a food diary? I bet she's gone every way from Sunday. I don't know if that's the right saying, but whatever it is, she's done all of these different. She's done all of these different things to get to antibiotics and different doctors and different alternative practitioners. Has she done a food diary? Yeah? I would guess not, Quantum Jeff. I would guess not. She's the very first step that you're supposed to do when you have any kind of chronic condition. Has she done it? No. She's done everything else, right? All the medical things, but she hasn't done a food diary. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying it's ironic, isn't it? It's kind of interesting. We've done all of these things, but the first thing that everybody should do, she didn't do. Food diary, probiotics. Okay, gut bacteria, fermented foods, glutamine powder to support for the immune system and to support digestive health. Anything she can do for the digestive system. Then, because sugar is the enemy of the immune system, you stabilize the sugar. Okay, has she gone on a low-calorie, low-carb, ketogenic diet? Probably not. Right? And again, I'm not picking on her.
I don't know. Right.
I'm not picking on anybody here, Quantum Jeff. I'm just saying this is ironic, and it's powerful. It's ironic because we do everything but, and it's powerful because it represents a place where we can work from the comfort of our own homes that will give us leverage over our biochemistry. And that's what we're looking at. So keeping her insulin down, calorie restriction, low sugar, low carb, ketogenic diet, and then things that support the blood sugar system. Selenium, sulfur, supplements that support the blood sugar system. Chromium, vanadium, omega fatty acids, especially omega-3s. There's a bazillion of them. Okay? Then third, cortisol. Relax. Cortisol is an immune suppressant. That's why they give you hydrocortisone to suppress your immune system. That's why they give you prednisone to suppress your immune system. That's not a good thing. You want to strengthen your immune system. You want to make your immune system robust. And you do that by working on the adrenal glands. Now, the first two steps, the food and the sugar, is going to help, but also calming down, slow, deep breathing, relaxing, muscle relaxation, sleep, supplements that support the adrenal glands. Vitamin B5, one of the all-time great underappreciated adrenal gland nutrients. Vitamin C, perhaps the king of the immune system nutrients. Perhaps the king of the adrenal gland nutrients. High doses. I'd be doing an IV if I were her. If I were her, I'd go find an IV therapist who'd give me 10 grams, 20 grams, 30 grams of it right in my blood. I can't believe how much vitamin C you can take. You can put right in your blood. Right in your blood.
I always work with all these systems. But the thing is, people have to understand too, is it's a constant we get healed by thought alone. It's a constant feeling, thinking, this vicious cycle of being sick, and you worry about it every day.
I'm going to go out on a limb, Quantum Jeff, and I'm going to say that this gal wasn't completely thrilled with her life before she got her chronic Lyme disease. Have you checked into any of that? Now, you got to be very careful there because you got to be very careful there because that's called blaming the victim, and nobody ever wants you to do that. But there's the flip side of blame is responsibility is taking control. So it represents a place where we can control. And I don't talk about the quantum. I like talking to you, Quantum Jeff, because I feel like I can talk the quantum stuff,
You sure can.
Right? And I think that's really important. I used to do a show, before I did The Bright Side on GCN and for another radio station, I used to do a show where I talked about all the quantum stuff. And the guy told me, I'll never forget, he said, you should stick to health. He said, people want to hear health. But that was 10 years ago. So maybe people are ready to hear the other stuff. Because I truly believe that's where our power resides. Our maximum power resides at that level. That's where our consciousness and the things that seem like they're really weird and airy-fairy, that's so powerful. And that's why I call the program The Bright Side, and that's what I think we should all be focusing on. We should be focusing on our power and our ability to control our environment. And you know what? I watch the news and I follow politics, but you got to be really careful with that stuff because our world is saturated with fear and with terror and with doom and destruction and screaming and yelling and conflict and contentiousness and war, and it can't help but somehow show up in the individual biochemistries of all our bodies at that quantum level, at that fundamental level.
And the problem is everybody's so disconnected because there's quantum entanglement. Everything, all energy, all things.
That's right. Everything's entangled. It's like hitting to insult somebody or to steal from somebody or to be rude or mean to somebody or hurt somebody. It's like taking a hammer and hitting it on your head, on your own head. When we get angry, I love this. This always fascinates me. When we get angry at somebody, whose biochemistry gets tweaked? Whose cortisol goes up? Whose serotonin drops and oxytocin drops? It's all us. We are all, everything we do in life and everything we do to others in life is about our biochemistry. And that's bad news, and that's really, really, really good news. Thank you, Quantum Jeff. Appreciate your call. And happy holidays to you if I don't talk to you again. And that's all the time we have for today on The Bright Side. I call it The Bright Side because this is the good news, that we can take care of our bodies at the most fundamental level using lifestyle modifications, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, from the comfort of our own homes. Thanks for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a beautiful, wonderful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.